Yeah, I think this is the problems that we encounter in our efforts to improve the traffic flow in Penang. There's a need to have a holistic approach. Number one is in terms of what the state government can do and what the state government cannot do. So unfortunately, no, we fully agree that public transport would be the solution to the problem. But unfortunately, we have no control over public transport. And this is something within the purview of the federal government. We can only urge the federal government to implement the projects that were promised earlier, such as the bypass and also some of the trams, transportation system. But in the meantime, as I said, since the state government has no control over public transport, we don't even have any say over whether a taxi taxi should use meters or not. That is completely within the purview of the federal government. So we are forced to look at other options, which includes, of course, the third link. And that's why I think the HALCRO looks at both possibilities. Number one, if we can have a public transport system that is hooked up, and at the moment there's none by the federal government, but in the event, if not, then we've got to have another alternative approach that includes the third link. So ours is just a fallback position. Yeah, but I mean, if as I said, that when we mooted the third link, we have a 50-50 chance of success, because there's a question of also of financing. There's also a question of whether critically the question of financing, whether financing can be raised. But as I said, that finally we are forced to adopt this approach because we just can't sit and do nothing. Until and unless there is a real study or there is a real commitment, then I think we have no choice but to at least press ahead with this alternative. For example, the Penang Greater Master Plan. I think that was started with great fanfare by our Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Dr. Sri Idris Jalla, and he had sought cooperation from the state government, and we had agreed. We have put aside our Penang Industrial Blueprint. We have set it aside because we want to collaborate with the federal government to draft out the Greater Penang Master Plan. But even though all the labs and all the discussions and all the consultations have been completed, nothing has happened. It appears to be another forgotten project. It appears to be another discussion which has not borne any fruits. So our concern is that there may be some talk, but unless there's commitment, unless there is unless funds are put into these projects, then again, I think we will be disappointed and we will be, waiting for the durian to drop, or we will be waiting for the durian that never drops. So that's why we are forced, we are compelled by necessity to proceed with our own alternative plan. In the event that all these promises are not implemented. So I think so far there has been nothing, no word whatsoever. That's why in that type of situation, we have no choice. So if you look at the HALCRO report, they are looking at two alternatives. One, an ideal situation where you can have improved public transport, and two, in the event that that cannot happen, then you should also consider a fallback alternative position. And I think this is what the state government has done, to adopt an alternative fallback position, so that at least there is some solution to the increasing number of people coming into Penang. I mean, like today you see the increasing number of flights. Even in terms of air cargo and passenger air travel, that has increased. What more when you talk about road transport or road usage increase? So we cannot just not do anything just because we say that this one is all up to the federal government. I think the state government has also got to think of some alternatives. So we are still waiting for official word.
Are you going to follow up with it, or
if there is no development? So sometimes people tell me that perhaps they will only move after the city season is over. They only move after the next elections. So we still want to hold out some hope that the discussions that were held for the Greater Penang Master Plan can see some results. So I think probably we'll wait until the end of this year. We'll give it until the end of this year. So one was the balanced approach, one was the highway approach. Which balanced approach where we talk about improving public transport. And I would definitely support the idea, and I would even advocate the idea of moving people rather than moving vehicles. But the problem is that when you have no control over public transport, what else can you do? You can only try to build more alternative roads so that you can have more options. For example, you can even talk about closing some roads in the inner city areas. But when you don't have any additional roads, you have no options. When you have no options, then you are stuck. For example, you talk about public buses, dedicated bus lanes. Can we have a dedicated bus lane in Penang when the roads are already so narrow? So that's why you must build alternative roads so that at least you have an option to provide for dedicated bus lanes. So definitely when you talk about a master plan, you must try to reach out to the stars. We always want to be idealistic, but at the same time you also have a realistic fallback position that is feasible. And that's why there are two approaches that has been recommended by the consultant. One, the so-called balanced approach, the other, the highway approach. That one is an idealistic position, which also costs which also costs the same amount of money. The other one is in the event that there's nothing they do about public transport because it's not within the powers of the state government. Then you have to consider the other approach, which is what we are doing.
Which one do you prefer?
Huh? Which one do I prefer? Yeah. I mean, we can of course have a good public transport, why not? Isn't it? But when you have no control over public transport, that raises a very big question mark. It's sometimes very sad. Because you have done nothing in terms of public transport. We have no control over public transport. I mean, one of the main browsers by the public is you look at taxi meters. There's nothing we can do there. That one it's not the state government. You cannot blame the previous state government. I mean, I would like to blame if I can. But to be fair, Sangeeta, it is not within the powers of the previous state government also. This is federal government. It is not previous state government. We have no powers there. So it's actually federal government control. Just at the airport, I got to seek help from Tan Sri. We have no control here. But Tan Sri is a very dedicated professional. So it's easier to work with in that respect. And you can see some of our innovative approaches in terms of public transport that we try. For example, our CAT bus services, where you give free bus rides in the inner city areas. We have our best service, where you give free transport for the workers from the mainland right across the bridge to Bandar Pass. And this is all paid by the state government. But this is so much we can do. So we cannot just not do anything. We must take a proactive approach. That's why we have taken the initiative to have these infrastructure projects. So it gives us more options, more choice. As I said, including the possibility of providing for dedicated bus lanes. I think these are some of the ideas made. I think let's not go into detail. Let's look at the broad principles and the broad policies. Let the public give their feedback. I think we are opening up to the public. Let them give their feedback, and then we'll look at it. Okay? I do not want to preempt discussions. I'm not going to say, well, CM like that really. No, I don't want to preempt discussions. We are the most consultative. I think we are the most consultative government in Malaysia. We always get public feedback.